Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from AnthonysCustoms, and for this video, we're going to be reviewing the Hitman's Bodyguard. So I don't know if you guys know this, but I was pretty excited for this movie. I like buddy cop style movies. That's essentially what this is. Take two relatively big name actors. For this, they're big name, but you know, sometimes they're not always until these movies Anyway, they took two already big name actors, put them together, let comedy and action ensue. That's generally a good recipe, and it proves to be true for this movie as well. So we're just going to get right into it. There's not going to be a whole lot to talk about, but there's enough, so let's go ahead. So the writing for this movie, it's really solid. It's really, really solid, and that might be because the writers were good, or it might be because the actors were really good at delivering the lines, or there's a lot of ad-libbing, or both. I don't know, but somehow it all came together very nicely. We know Sam Jackson has a particular way with words. We know Ryan Reynolds has a particular way with words, so either the writers played to those strengths or it all just worked out. I don't know, but it was fantastic. I liked it. I didn't have any problem with the writing of this movie. None. It wasn't the most incredibly deep story. I didn't expect it to be. It was definitely enough to drive the action and to drive the comedy and to drive the general plot, but it's not like it's a particularly memorable story. It's just enough, which is fine for this type of movie. I don't fault it. I think that's perfectly okay. So I kind of already mentioned this, but the casting for this movie worked out very, very nicely. Obviously, Sam Jackson and Ryan Reynolds are both really good. I expected Ryan Reynolds to be kind of like the lead, the main character, the one you kind of connect to, I guess, and because they kind of set it up where Sam Jackson was a bad guy and Ryan Reynolds was a good guy. And I'm not going to get into spoilers, so I'm not going to get into any of that, but let's just say Sam Jackson stole the show, by far. Ryan Reynolds was funny, he did a good job, but Sam Jackson definitely stole the show. He was great. This is one of my favorite roles for him, actually. It was really, really solid. And Ryan Reynolds, it was just pretty much more of the same Ryan Reynolds we already expect. So it was good, it was fine. Nothing special, but it was fine. So those two did a really good job. Gary Oldman didn't really need to be in the movie at all. It seems like, I'm assuming they had to pay him a pretty good amount because he's a pretty well-known guy, and it could have been anybody. Literally any, I could have been in that role. Other than the accent wouldn't have been no good. Would have been okay. So I don't know why he was in it. Not a bad thing for him, he did fine, but it really didn't matter at all. So that's a little strange, but doesn't really matter. And then lastly, we have Elodie Yung, aka Elektra from the Marvel stuff on Netflix. She did a really good job. I mean, it wasn't like anybody else couldn't do it, but she was fine. She didn't have any problem with it, and she did, I don't know, does she do a lot of movies and stuff? I haven't looked into her too much, but I liked her. I thought she was good, so I'd like to see her do some more stuff other than Elektra. But she did a pretty good job in that too, so. Then there was Salma Hayek, who had a very tiny role, really insignificant. Didn't really need to be her, but she did a really good job in this role. I liked seeing her in this type of role. It was very unique, unless I've not seen her do something like this before, but I don't think she has, but she did a really good job. She was funny. She was fine. She was just really nice, but it didn't really make that much of a difference again, but it was still fine. And so the action, this movie was going to be mostly action, as you could tell from the trailers, and they did a really, really good job with it. There was a nice variety, there was nice pacing, it was shot really well, it was edited mostly really well. Now, they did need to do a lot of editing. Obviously, it was going to be a fairly choppy movie because I don't think Sam Jackson knows very many of the martial arts skills required to be a hitman, but he did a good job. I believed it, and they did a good job editing it. Some of the scenes were a little chopped up, but not anywhere near like Resident Evil or anything like that. So I thought it was good. Very good. There's no one scene that really stood out as having a problem other than one chase scene seemed a little bit drawn out. But it wasn't like a problem. It wasn't bad or anything. It was still good. So it was a really solid action movie. And then we have the humor to mix into it as well. And it wasn't as humorous as I thought it would be. There were a lot of instances that were funny, but it wasn't a continually humorous movie. I guess you'll have to see it to know what I mean. It wasn't like it wasn't funny. It was just not as punchy as I thought it was going to be, which I think is probably a good thing. I think it served to make the movie a little bit more grounded and serious. And then Ryan Reynolds would throw in one of his quips here and there, and it would lighten the mood, and it would be good. Or Sam Jackson was pretty much funny the whole movie, so that was good. It was a really nice balance. I was very pleased with all of that. So that's pretty much it. There's not a whole lot to talk about. There wasn't really any CGI. I mean, the usual special effects, those were all fine. Except there was one thing I did notice, and it could have been the movie theater, but I go to that theater for everything, and I haven't had this problem. A lot of the scenes had a weird focus. maybe not a lot, but some of the scenes had a really weird focus, like a very shallow depth of field, so that you could see the actor, but it would look like he was in front of a green screen because of how blurry the background was. Because of that shallow depth of field, it seemed weird, and because of that, some scenes where like a character was in front of a window, that light was just blurred and glaring onto the, I'm holding the lens cap, onto the picture. It just looked weird. I don't know, did anybody else notice that when they watched it? That was a little odd. It didn't really hurt the movie too much because it was only for a handful of scenes, but it was very noticeable. Or like the one scene where Ryan Reynolds is sitting at like this little food cart thing outside, and it's right on him, very crisp focus, but then everything else is really blurred, and it looked like it was green screen, but I don't think it was. So just a little bit weird, but overall, very, very solid film. Lots of fun. It's just like most of your other buddy cop movies in most senses. Does have a lot of swearing in it, not surprisingly, but still it does. So be aware that it's not a kid's movie, but it's not like particularly bad other than they say MF a whole bunch. But otherwise, it's fine. It was really funny, really enjoyable. I think you should go watch it, for sure. Let me know what you guys thought about it in the comment section below. Let's keep the spoilers to a minimum for those people who haven't seen it yet. If you haven't seen it, go see it, come back, tell me what you thought, and we'll talk down below. Thanks for watching, guys. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. I have new videos up every single day. We talk about movies, action figures, TV shows, video games, all kinds of fun stuff. I also stream 4 times a week on Twitch, so go to twitch.tv/AnthonysCustoms if you want to see me designing my own line of action figures. It's a pretty good time, so make sure you stop by for that. Give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, and in the meantime, keep collecting.